Hello everyone. Today we will look at HCF word problems. What are the three steps to solve word problems? First, we read the problem carefully and we read it again. Number two, we break down the problem into small steps. We draw a picture. We try to visualize the problem. Number three, we find the keywords. Today, we are going to look mainly at finding the keywords. Before we start working on exercise 3.4, let us do a quick revision of HCF. What does HCF mean? Highest common factor. Let us look at each of the words in highest common factor. Factor. A number is divisible by its factor. The remainder is always 0 after we divide a number by its factor. Common. The factor is common or present for all the numbers. Highest. It is the largest factor of all the numbers. So HCF is the largest number by which we can divide all the numbers equally. Now we will look at HCF through an example. We have the numbers 12 and 16. You have to find the factors and HCF of 12 and 16. I have already done the prime factorization of 12 and 16 here. You can start working on the factors and the HCF. You can pause the video while you are doing it. Once you have finished, you can come back and start watching the video again. You can pause the video now. So, to find the factors of a number, we have to multiply its prime factors in all possible combinations. So, the factors of 12 are 1, 2, 3, 4, 6 and 12. Remember, every number has got 1 and itself as its factors. That is why 1 and 12 are always the factors of 12. The factors of 16 are 1, 2, 4, 8, 16. Again, every number has got 1 and itself as its factor. So, 1 and 16 are also the factors of 16. Have you found the HCF? Is it same as 4? The highest common factor we see is 4, and when we look at the factors of 12 and 16, we find that the highest factor which is common for both the numbers is 4 as well. So that is what a highest common factor means. It is the highest factor which is present for all the numbers and with which the number is divisible. Now let us start working on the exercise 3.4. Remember the steps of working on a problem? We will read the problem carefully. We will break it down into small steps. We will draw a picture if we can. And finally, we will look at the keywords to try solving the problem. The first problem is quite simple because here we have to find the HCF of the numbers. The second problem, let us look at it. Find the largest number which is a factor of each of the numbers 504, 792 and 1080. So what is this problem saying? The problem has given three numbers. We have to find the factors of this number. What kind of factor do we have to find? It has to be the largest factor. So what are my keywords? Largest number. It means we have to find something which is highest. What is the second keyword? each of the numbers. This means that we have to find that highest number for all the numbers, for each of the numbers, which means it is common. And what do we have to find? It already says we have to find the factor. So that is how we know that we have to find the HCF of these three numbers. The keywords are telling me that. Let us look at problem number 3. The length, breadth and height of a room are 12 meters, 15 meters and 18 meters respectively. Determine the length of longest stick that can measure all the dimensions of the room in exact number of times. There are some difficult words in this problem. If you are having problems understanding any of the words, please find the meaning in the dictionary. I will now tell the problem in simple words. The length, breadth and height of a room are 12 meter, 15 meter and 18 meter. I will send a separate picture to show how this room looks like. Determine. Determine here means calculate. Calculate the length of longest stick that can measure all the dimensions. What is a dimension? Dimension is length, breadth and height together. It is known as dimension. So, calculate the length of longest stick that can measure all the length, breadth and height of the room in exact number of times. So, this is what the problem is saying. I have read it to understand. In the next step, you can draw the pictures of the length, breadth and height of the room as well. The keywords, longest stick. What does longest stick mean? It means that we have to find something which is highest. Long, longer, longest. After that, what do we have to look for? All the dimensions. So this is something we have to find which is common between the length, breadth and height. And finally, what is the keyword? In exact number of times. That means we are trying to measure the length, breadth and height with a stick that measures it the exact number of times. So this is the factor. Once we measure, we do not have any remainder. So that is how we find out that we have to find the highest common factor of the three numbers given here. Can you try doing this for problem number 5? Again, I will send a separate picture to tell you what the problem means. What is the capacity of the largest vessel which can empty the oil from 3 vessels containing 32 liters, 24 liters and 48 liters an exact number of times? Can you try finding out the keywords? First, read the problem, try to understand. There are some difficult words in here, so try looking them up in the dictionary. What does capacity mean? The capacity of the largest vessel. What does vessel mean? Vessel means any kind of container. It can be a glass, a bucket, it can be a big ship, it can be a tank. So a vessel is any kind of container which you can fill up with the liquid. So what is the capacity? The capacity means how much liquid that vessel can hold. So what is the capacity of the largest vessel which can empty the oil from 3 vessels? So we have got 3 vessels, and how much the oil does each of the vessel hold? 32 liters, 24 liters and 48 liters. And what do we have to do? We have to find another vessel with which we can empty the oil. So the 3 vessels are filled with oil, and we have to find another vessel with which we can take out the oil. We can empty the oil. And how do we empty it? We have to find an exact number of times. So I either take it down I have to fill up my smaller vessel full. I cannot fill it half, or I cannot fill it like quarter. So it has to be filled up full and taken out exact number of times. What are the keywords here? largest vessel, which means we have to find the highest capacity vessel with which I can take out the oil. And what does from the three vessels mean? Means we have to find something which is common for all the three vessels. And what is the final keyword? The final keyword is an exact number of times, which means it should be perfectly divisible. So we have to find the factor. So that is how we find out that we have to find the highest common factor. Problem number 4. HCF of co-prime numbers 4 and 15 was found as follows by factorization. 4 is 2 and 2, 15 is 3 and 5. Since there is no common prime factor, HCF and 4 and 15 is 0. Is the answer correct? If not, what is the correct HCF? So here is your hint to do the problem. What is an HCF? An HCF is the highest common factor. What are the steps we do to find the HCF? We can find the factors and find out which are the highest factors which is common in both the numbers. So can you guess what do we have to do? Remember what we have learned about factors? Every number is divisible by 1 and itself. Every number has 1 and itself as a factor. Now try thinking on those lines for the numbers 4 and 15. Can you guess? With that, you will complete the homework today. You will complete exercise 3.4. If you have any questions, you will bring them to class tomorrow. I am also sending you the pictures for problem 3 and problem 5. So here is how we solve problem 3 by drawing pictures. First, the room dimension is 12 meter by 15 meter by 18 meter, and we want to measure it with a stick. So suppose this is the room. The longest part of the room is called the length, which is 15 meter. The shorter part of the room is called the breadth, which is 12 meter. And the height is the distance of the floor and the ceiling, which is 18 meter. And we have to find the length of the longest stick with which we can measure the length, breadth and height. Problem number 5. We have got 3 vessels of different capacities. And what are the different capacity? Vessel 1, 24 liters. Vessel 2, 32 liters. Vessel 3, 48 liters. Remember, a vessel can be any container. I have just shown an oil tank here. And what do we have to do? We have to empty these 3 containers using another vessel. So this is my vessel. And what is the highest capacity vessel that we can use to empty these 3 vessels? That is our problem.